I'm Tom from Do-It-Yourself Home Automation, and this is a look at the Simcam AI surveillance camera. And I showed in another video the sort of initial overlook of this, but this is a device that Simcam sent me to check out. It's a webcam kind of in the same vein as a Wise Cam or Nest Cam, but unlike those devices, rather than just streaming video to the cloud and doing all of the sort of smart processing on the cloud, this actually uses a fairly new Intel Vision chip in the camera itself. And basically, my guess is it's just, relatively straightforward camera hardware wrapped around this Intel Vision chip. And these are sort of a new thing I think we're going to see in a lot more Internet of Things devices, where it's a specially designed chip that just does AI, it does visual AI. So things like facial recognition, object recognition, it's specialized for that. And as a result, it's able to work in this small device. It's fairly inexpensive, and it allows the device itself to do a lot of the processing that with something like a Nest camera or a Wise camera currently happens on the cloud. So those devices are streaming video to the cloud, whoever's it is. It could be Amazon, it could be private cloud, it could be Google, and those cloud services, those cloud servers way off somewhere, are doing the actual processing and then returning information about people detection and that kind of thing back to the camera. Simcam is different because, again, with that Intel Vision chip in the device, it's actually able to do facial recognition and object detection and other kinds of smart things. Smart AI kinds of things on the device itself. And that means better speed, and it means the potential for better security too, because this can actually record just to a local card instead of sending data out to the cloud. And this goes over some of the different kind of smart capabilities. So human detection, really important to be able to see not only if there's people in your house that are family members, but also to detect an intruder or someone coming into your front yard, for example, maybe a package delivery. But face recognition, this is where things get much more interesting, I think. So you can train the device to recognize specific people and then take actions based on who it sees. So maybe you train it for your family members and it'll do things around the house, like it might turn on the lights when a family member comes home. But if someone new is detected at your front door, maybe it would send you an alert and say, an unknown person is there. Or maybe you want to train it, for your mail delivery person, for example. So when the mail has arrived. I can think of a lot of different use cases for this facial recognition. Object monitoring. So the idea here is that in the frame, you can select an object like a computer or something that's valuable and tag it. And then if that object leaves the frame, then it'll alert you and let you know. So I think this would be kind of helpful in the context of maybe a store. I see these cameras being used for surveillance a lot and increasingly in retail stores. So, you could basically point this at your cash register or point it at something where there's a valuable asset, tag that item, and you get an alert if somebody walks off with it. Smart home integration. So this in theory is integrated with the Amazon Echo and with Google Assistant. So you can trigger things with that. And it's also integrated with IFTTT. So you could do, for example, facial recognition and then perform some action based on the person that it saw. And then this DIY AI features with OpenSDK. This is kind of interesting and not something we see a lot with the more established companies like Google, because this actually allows you to tinker with the AI capabilities on the device and maybe train it for your own specific use case. So they're opening up the technology, to a broader extent. And the other thing I mentioned, so it's actually storing, it's doing, the same things you'd expect, I think, of a home surveillance camera, but it's storing the video and the intelligence data on a SIM card on the device itself, or it can sync to a network attached storage like the Synology NAS that I've shown in other videos. And that means you can keep your video local if you choose to do so. And that's again a capability that I think is enabled by that smart Intel chip, because otherwise you've had to in the past send data out to the cloud to get that kind of intelligent processing. But now, if it can be done on the device with these new dedicated AI chips, then you don't need to necessarily send that data out in order to get those really helpful AI-driven kinds of features. There's no subscription fees because you're not putting this into a cloud. And again, this local video analysis and storage, I think that's something really interesting and new. So I'm going to test this out. I'm going to see how it works in the real world and test some of these capabilities. Also, do some security checks on it and see how it's actually handling the data that I'm producing. And I'll share a lot more information about this as I actually start to dig into it. If you have questions or things you want me to test out, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll go ahead and check them out. If you found this helpful in any way or you want to see more about this as I start to work with it, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps.